City of Forest Park Council Meeting number 1386, December 6th. Let us start and stand with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First item on the agenda is the roll call. Let us start by let the clerk call the roll.
Adams, Brown,
Here.
Clark,
Here.
Harrison,
Present.
Holt,
Here.
Moore,
Here.
Sylvester.
Here. I need a motion to excuse Councilwoman Adams.
I move to excuse Councilwoman Adams.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. I guess let everyone vote in by the by saying aye to excuse her.
Aye.
Oh, that doesn't. Okay. All right. Council Member Adams is excused. Agenda item number 2. The minutes. Has the minutes been received by all council members, and does anyone have any adjustments or amendments to those? Okay. And then we can move on to agenda item number 3, presentations. Is there presentations at this time? Not seeing any. So, we also need a motion to excuse the law director, John Wyckoff. Is there a motion?
I move to excuse Mr. John Wyckoff.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Let it be known by the voice vote. We don't have to do a roll call on that. Voice vote by the sound of saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, so at this time, it's going to be agenda item number 4, communications from the public. So this is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions or concern. So when recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and your address, and then state your comments or questions. So council meetings are generally tape recorded for transcription, but please limit your comments to under 5 minutes.
Good evening. My name's Monique Mason-Halter. I live at 154 Junefield Avenue in Green Hills. I'm here tonight because I've seen contractors installing fiber line on Sharon Road, east of the intersection, at Lakeview Drive, across from the entrance to Winton Woods. It looks like it's been attached to the fiber line that Verizon installed in 2018 for 5G across the street from my Green Hills neighborhood. I've spoken before here about my opposition to this, but not since 2019. I'm still opposed to this. In 2019, council members here passed an emergency ordinance to eliminate the 30-day waiting period to install small cell towers. A neighbor and I spoke to the law director after that meeting. If we understood him correctly, council passed the ordinance because the city wanted to get another small cell tower installed quickly near the Winton Woods High School, even though there was already one installed near there in front of the fire station. If that ordinance is still in effect, there will be no 30-day waiting period to attach a 5G small cell to the fiber line on Sharon Road once installation is completed. Is that correct? You can answer later. I'm asking that council members consider eliminating the small cell emergency ordinance, since that second tower you wanted has been installed near the school. I'm also asking you to consider introducing an ordinance that would better prevent 4G and 5G small cells from being installed near homes and schools. Fortunately, local small cell ordinance that do just that have already been passed in Amberley Village, Cincinnati, Marymount, and Mason. There may be others. Wireless infrastructure installed near homes reduces property value. There are other safety risks to consider as well. In August, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit ruled that the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, failed to, quote, record evidence that exposure to RF radiation at levels below the Commission's current limits may cause negative health effects unrelated to cancer, end quote. The court also ruled that the FCC ignored organizations, scientists, and medical doctors who asked them to update limits, and it also failed to address these issues: impacts of long-term wireless exposure, impacts to children, impacts to wildlife and the environment, impacts to the developing brain and reproduction. For more information about risks associated with fiber line being used for 5G deployment, you may also want to look up this article: Fiber, Broadband, and Small Cells, an Unholy Municipal Alliance. There are also other safety risks regarding 5G deployment. Utility companies and trade groups have filed lawsuits against the FCC because, quote, 5G would create an unreasonably high potential for radio frequency interference that could disrupt communication systems that underpin the safety and reliability of the grid, end quote. 5G deployment in the C-band has also been delayed because the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, believes these frequencies could interfere with aviation equipment. Natural Resource Defense Council, NRDC, also filed a lawsuit against the FCC regarding small cell construction, 4G and 5G. In 2020, NRDC posted information on its website to help municipal governments better regulate construction. Quote, local governments can condition approval for new 5G cell construction upon compliance with federal requirements for environmental review. While a local government cannot add new requirements for environmental review, it can require proof that the necessary federal review has been done. Given the mounting evidence that the FCC's radio frequency limits are inadequate, such federal review should include an evaluation of the adequacy of these limits. The National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, requires an analysis of environmental impacts of major federal actions. Such actions include wireless infrastructure. If the impacts might be significant, the agency must prepare an environmental impact statement. If an agency is unsure whether the impacts may be significant, it can prepare a shorter environmental assessment based on the environmental assessment. The agency will either move forward to prepare an EIS or instead prepare a finding of no significant impact, FONSI. The only way to avoid an EA or an EIS is if the action qualifies for a categorical exclusion. While some new cell construction may qualify, the FCC has identified circumstances where an CE does not apply. Anyone wishing to construct a facility that uses an FCC license must submit an environmental assessment to the FCC or certification that the facility is categorically excluded. An environmental assessment is required if the proposed construction will be in a wilderness.
Ma'am, that exceeds 5 minutes.
I have solutions for you. If you would let me finish, I only have about a minute.
Well,
I'm sorry for running over.
I'm sorry. We really need to limit it to 5 minutes. There are other items on the agenda we need to get through. So thank you. Is there any other member of the public who would like to come to the podium? Yeah, if you want to leave us a copy of that, ma'am, we can take it and pass it on to the city manager.
I know she stated her name and address, but is there an option where she can write her name and address information?
Yeah, is there a sign-in sheet up there?
Would you like me to email this to you with links where you can look all of this information up?
Certainly.
Should I send it to the clerk of council and it'll reach all of you, or is there someone in particular that I should send it to?
Yes, you can send it to the clerk. Are there any other members who would like to address the body? Any other communication from the public? All right. At this time, we're going to move on to agenda item number 4, and this is reports from council. But before we begin, this is the part of council session where after comments from the public. If you do not wish to stay, you are free to leave, but if you want to stay, you can stay and see what goes on here at council. But yeah, agenda item number 5, and we're going to skip Councilmember Adams, and we're going to go straight to Councilmember Clark. But please limit your reports to under 2 minutes.
I have no report at this time.
Okay. Moving on, we're going to go to Councilmember Harrison.
I'm sorry, but for the work session though?
Oh, okay. Do you have items to add to the agenda?
It's okay. Before the work session, perhaps maybe just having a chat about what we can do in support of our amazing football team.
Yes. Okay, I'll add that. All right. Next, Councilmember Harrison.
I have nothing to report
And do you have any items to add to the agenda?
at this time.
Okay. Next will be Councilmember, first Vice Mayor Holt.
I have no report tonight, thank you, and I have nothing to add to the agenda.
All right, thank you. And second Vice Mayor Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say congratulations to the Woods Warriors. We are so proud of our young men, our coaches, and the entire Warrior family. As a Warrior, we're just very, very excited about the our state championship brought to our community, and so we're very proud. Thank you.
Okay, and I don't see any items for the agenda for you, Councilwoman Moore.
No, thank you.
Okay, and then we will go to Councilmember Sylvester.
Yes, I'd just like to state to the city that Cedar Falls Park will be having a Christmas parade this Saturday, December the 11th. It's going to be along the route of Waycross Road. I had asked on the details of the time, but it's not stated on this. But I'm sure flyers will be going out to the schools, and information should be posted on the website, and also can be requested by calling in to the municipal building. But that's this Saturday, December the 11th.
Okay,
The,
thank
the parade will start at 11, and the end point will be Central Park, and it'll start from the intermediate school.
Is that being sponsored by the city?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Recreation.
I didn't see the flyer was torn off. I mean,
And
half
hopefully our board
flyer.
will be part of it.
All right, that concludes. Councilmember Sylvester, you have any items to add to the work session? Okay, thank you for that. And that concludes our reports from council members. Next item on the agenda is number 6, the mayor's report, and I do not have anything to report at this time. There are a few work session items that we will add to the agenda for the next work session on the 13th. And moving on, we will go to item number 7, the city manager's report.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I would like to report today, we actually made a application for our state capital funding for a project here at Central Park. It's a continuation of the process that we went through 2 years ago, and we received a $100,000 grant. In the last process, we've asked for to continue the next phase of that project, so we've asked for another $600,000, but we hope to get whatever they think they want to give us. We're happy to get it, but we went through the process today, and we were happy to. We thought it went real well, and we expect to get a lot of help from our local elected folks up in Columbus, and so we'll update you as that process goes on. It's going to be several months before we find out exactly how much we get, but that'll be a nice project once we move on. The first $100,000 grant was we used to do ADA accessible playground equipment. We're still waiting for that to be delivered, but once we get it, we hope to get it in before the spring, this spring. So hopefully we'll get that piece of this project finished, and it'll be a great project for the community. I did want to bring to everyone's attention, though, we were notified earlier this month in late November 30th, the bus routes here in the city of Forest Park. I'm going to direct you to the Metro's website for more information, but the express route 14X, which picks up at the park and ride here, has been eliminated. However, they've included, and I'll use their service on that route has been added to, so that Route 20 is now the proper route for that. So it's been modified to accommodate those who originally rode on 14X. So they're also improving service on Route 22 across Hamilton County as well. So if you pick up the bus here in Forest Park and you're in one of those, you take one of those routes that normally you always take, like 22 or 20 or 14, please take a look at the new route so you know exactly what's going on and don't miss your buses. And so that information will be available on their website. We're going to try and get all the information as well and put a link on our website as well. So that's something that's really important that people need to know. Again, the Santa parade, the Santas will be in a fire truck, and we're going to start on the Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to start at the Waycross former intermediate school, and it's going to terminate right here at Central Park, and we'll be driving past our nice new Christmas tree here, and we'll be lighting that thing up as well. So I think City Hall looks good, the city looks good, and we hopefully get a nice and happy holidays for everyone. That's it.
And if I may just I'm sorry.
No, I have a question, but it's not regarding that. It's totally different. If it's regarding that, you can go ahead.
Okay, it's about the bus route. So the reduction in that bus route was strictly because it wasn't an operator issue, but it was usage. It was one or under a handful or under 5 people using that route, and then typically one. So it was a challenge.
Okay.
So it changed.
All right.
Okay. I saw some signs on Mill Road where there's one lane. They're doing some work. Is that going to be Forest Park, or is that going to be further?
There's, it depends on the project. There's a MSD project going on Mill. They're doing preliminary field work, so that may have been part of it. There's also, I'll get the answer to you, but there's also, as the lady said earlier, extensive amount of 5K fiber being run underground, a lot of boring around the community, and then Duke is also doing a lot of work down around Mill, and they're up in here as well. So it could have been any of those things.
Okay. I guess it was wishful thinking.
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
I know we discussed this several months ago, but is there any way we can ensure that when businesses are construction workers and come into our community to make sure that they leave it the way they found it? So I know we talked about this, and thank you for putting grass down on Kemper Road, but we have to make our guests accountable for our community and the aesthetics of our community. And so we need to make sure that we address that when they're coming in and installing things. So
Yes, we did speak about that, and you're absolutely right, and it's a real priority for our city. We have our inspectors following these guys around, and normally they would come in at the end after all the work's done and do the restoration work. We're having them restore it as they go, so that helps a little bit, but the real solution, and you'll be getting some legislation here after the first of the year, we're going to propose that anyone who does work in the public right-of-way, which is these types of commercial entities, they're using our right-of-way. And when they work in the public right-of-way, we're going to require bonds to make sure that or deposits of some sort, to make sure that the restoration work is done properly and that it lasts. Because you know as well as I do, if they're planting grass today and they literally, squirt it down out of a hose, the green grass, it's not going to take next year. And they'll be back next year to do it, or will be doing it. So we're going to require completion bonds and restoration bonds for anyone doing work in the city right-of-way.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, Don. Item number 7, moving on to item number 8, other reports. Since the law director is not here, we will move on from that one and move to the clerk of council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to report the resolution numbers 32-2021 through 34-2021, and ordinance numbers 19-2021 through 24-2021 were posted as required. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you for that, Sally. Moving on, item number 9, unfinished business. So we will need a motion to suspend the rules requiring the reading in full on 2 separate days and read for the second time by title only ordinance number 23-2021. So this ordinance was read for the first time by title only at the November 15th council meeting. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. So I guess we vote. Let the clerk call the roll on the motion to suspend.
Brown,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right. So unfinished business. So we have ordinance on the agenda, ordinance number 23-2021. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll read it by title only.
Oh, you read it, right. Can you please read it by title, please?
Ordinance number 23-2021. An ordinance amending Chapter 150 Land Usage regarding public notices sent by letter.
Is there a motion?
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 23-2021. Second.
Is there a se-
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Sorry. Oh, let the clerk call the roll.
Clark,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. Looks like the motion carries, but looks like Councilmember Adams has just joined us. I guess point of order, would we need to have a motion to,
No, we
Okay.
just document the time.
okay, document the time, all right. All right, moving on. So item number 10 on the agenda, new business. So these must be read, and these must be read in full because they were not posted. So starting with the first ordinance, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I
Yeah.
will read it in full first.
Okay, yes.
Ordinance number 25-2021, an ordinance approving a zone change for 15.832 acres located on Omniplex Court from BP Planned Business to IP Industrial Park. Whereas Mantage Realty LTD, the owner of 12171 Omniplex Court, filed an application to rezone 15.832 acres of their property from BP to IP. And whereas, after careful consideration of the application, the Planning Commission recommended that the City Council approve the zone change by a vote of 6-0 cast on October the 19th, 2021. And whereas, upon providing notification as required by law, the Council of the City of Forest Park held a public hearing to consider the zone change on November 15th, 2021. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio. Section 1, that 15.832 acres located on the west side of Omniplex Court, more fully described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part of this ordinance, be rezoned from BP Planned Business to IP Industrial Park. Section 2, that the zoning map be amended to show the zone change described in Section 1. Section 3, this ordinance shall be in full force and take effect from and after the earliest date allowed by law. And Mr. Mayor, this will be the first reading.
Okay, ordinance has been read in full. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the ordinance?
Well, this would be the first reading, and
Oh,
it will be
first reading,
voted
that's
on
right.
at the next council meeting.
Okay, so moving on to ordinance number 26-2021. This is also a first reading.
Yes. Ordinance number 26-2021. An ordinance approving a zone change from R1, one-family residence, to R2, one-family residence for 35.109 acres located south of Waycross Road between John Quill Meadow Drive and the Cincinnati Water Works property. Whereas ordinance 16-1978 rezoned approximately 724 acres of undeveloped land in the city to R1, one-family residence district. And whereas an application has been filed by the developer to rezone 35.109 acres of land located south of Waycross Road between John Quill Meadow Drive and the Cincinnati Water Works property. And whereas after careful consideration of the rezoning application, the Planning Commission recommended that the City Council approve the zone change by a vote of 6-0 cast on October the 19th, 2021. And whereas upon providing notification as required by law, the Council of the City of Forest Park held a public hearing on November 15th, 2021. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, Section 1, that 35.109 acres of land located south of Waycross Road between John Quill Meadow Drive and the Cincinnati Water Works property, more fully described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part of this ordinance, be rezoned from R1, one-family residence, to R2, one-family residence. Section 2, that the official zoning map be amended to show the zone change described in Section 1. Section 3, this ordinance shall be in full force and take effect from and after the earliest date allowed by law.
All right. So the next item on the agenda is resolution number 36-2021. Resolutions only require one reading. So would the clerk read this resolution by title only?
Resolution number 36, 2021. A resolution requesting the Hamilton County Auditor to place special assessments against various properties by the City of Forest Park Community Development Department. Whereas the City of Forest Park has implemented and operates a property maintenance program to enforce codes and standards established by law, and whereas when property owners are negligent or otherwise fail to maintain their property to the standard required by law, the city may be required to perform certain services on their property, including but not limited to grass and weed cutting, trash pickup, and other maintenance work. And whereas property owners are billed at their address of record for the reasonable cost and expense of such work performed by the city, and whereas for delinquent charges, a special assessment may be filed with the auditor of Hamilton County, Ohio, as a lien upon the real property. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, Section 1, that the Hamilton County Auditor is hereby requested to place special assessments on various properties by the City of Forest Park Community Development Department. Said list of properties attached hereto as Exhibit A and made a part of this resolution. This resolution shall be in full force and take effect from and after its passage.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 36-2021.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second. Is there any discussion?
These are assessments for grass cutting of properties in violation of the city's tall grass ordinance, most of which were bank-owned and vacant at the time, so this assessment covers the grass cutting charges and a $250 penalty fee through September. And we will have another one later on for the year end. But with that, I urge adoption of resolution number 36-2021.
All right. Is there any other discussion?
I think I'm confused. If they're bank-owned, who do we, we wouldn't bill, we would only be billing the homeowners for negligent.
There's a backup.
Yeah.
It's in your packet
The
there.
owner's
It tells
on
you
there.
who owns it.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
if they're bank-owned, we'd still just go after the property owners.
They're normally, they leave them, even if they own them, many times they'll leave them in the property owner's name and not file the deed.
Mm-hmm.
We tell
Vote
them
on
they're
this today,
sold.
right?
Gotcha.
We vote on this
Okay,
today,
that's
right?
one probably we would actually.
The resolution?
We'll recoup
The discussion.
fees on, with the property taxes. So as the property taxes are paid, we receive our money as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
And if they're delinquent on their property taxes and delinquent on this, and then it becomes we can enforce that, just as it was as if it was a delinquent property tax.
Lean into the mic, yeah.
Sorry.
Daniel was saying lean into the mic.
Danny's gonna get me.
Is there any other discussion? All right, it's been moved and seconded. Let the clerk call the roll.
Clark,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Oates,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. All right, motion passes. Is there any other business to come before the body? Is there any other business to come before the body? All right, hearing none. I need a motion to adjourn. Oh, I can just adjourn? I don't need a motion? Oh. All right, well, council meeting adjourned.